place at the wrong time.
You murderer! You liar!
Someone wants revenge.
Everybody's getting over this except for me.
Leave Paula alone. No!
Make it easy for both of us. I'll go away when they release you.
Stories from an open prison.
If she says he's pursuing her, hassling her, and he is.
You've got some opposition on the outside. The meat may inherit the earth, but they don't get special privileges round here.
A Question of Retribution. Insiders, Wednesday, 10 o'clock on BBC1.
And now some news from Comic Relief.
March the 14th, March the 14th, March the 14th, the date for Comic Relief. And if you want to know more, you shall ring for this free fundraising magazine. I know him. Oh, and I am being sponsored to do my impersonation of a horse.
If you want a fundraising pack, call 0891 900 000. And remember, small change, big difference.
OK, so no red nose, but there'll be plenty of silly suggestions in the alphabet game. And that's after the latest news on BBC1 from Jennie Bond.
Good afternoon. John Major has said he's disappointed by Labour's victory in the Wirral South by-election, but he insisted that the Conservatives would go on to win the general election. Tony Blair said it was a superb result, which showed that people no longer believed the Conservatives deserved to govern the country.
Keith Chapman has been duly elected to serve as member for the Wirral South constituency.
Labour was always expected to win this by-election, but the result was even better than the party had dared to hope for. A swing of 17% on a high turnout to give Ben Chapman a majority of nearly 8,000.
The people of Wirral South have spoken for Britain. They're saying to John Major and to his government, enough is enough.
The Tories had received the kicking which the Deputy Prime Minister had predicted, but insisted they'd win the seat back at the general election.
There's a by-election culture in this country now. Governments can't win by-elections, but this government wins general elections.
It shows, I believe, that people no longer think the Conservatives deserve to govern our country, that they're out of date and out of touch, and indeed as their response to the election results show, dismissing it simply as a protest vote, they're increasingly arrogant and have given up listening to the British people.
The Liberal Democrats trailed in third, but were maintaining a brave face.
We weren't squeezed out of the game in the way, for example, the Labour Party were when they were in third place in the by-elections in Newbury and Christchurch.
By-elections are not the same as general elections, but Ben Chapman's victory will undoubtedly shake Tory morale and give a real boost to Labour's campaign.
A support group is being set up for the victims of E. coli poisoning and their families. Called Hush, it will offer counselling and campaign to raise awareness of the bacterium among doctors. More than 20 people have died of E. coli in the past 3 months. The British Medical Association says the recent outbreaks underline the importance of public awareness of food hygiene. New rules designed to encourage more private renting come into effect today. Landlords will be able to evict tenants earlier if they fail to pay the rent, and it'll be easier for them to offer short-term lets. Some housing groups, though, are worried that tenants may be exploited by bad landlords. The government of Pakistan has launched a major relief effort after an earthquake killed at least 48 people near the city of Hanai in the southwest of the country. 3 villages are reported to have been destroyed when they were struck by a quake that measured 7.3 on the Richter scale. It's thought the death toll will rise. Steve Coppell has been appointed as manager of Crystal Palace Football Club just 3 months after leaving Manchester City because of the stress of the job. He'll take over at the London club until the end of this season. And that's it. The next news is at 1.
Hello and good afternoon. The Condor ferry will today sail from Weymouth for the last time. From tomorrow, services to the Channel Islands will operate from Poole. The Havelet roll-on roll-off ferry is being replaced by the world's 3rd largest fast ferry, the Condor Express. It can carry up to 800 passengers and 200 cars. But fast ferries like it have a reputation for unreliability in rough weather. A new beer is being launched in Dorset today to help save AFC Bournemouth from closure. The brew has been created specially by Poole Brewery. 50p from each of the 7,000 bottles being produced will go into the trust fund. And finally, one of Brighton's most famous residents will be remembered at a London theatre today. Jack Tinker, the Daily Mail's theatre critic, is being honoured at the London Palladium in a review produced by Sir Cameron Mackintosh. Jack Tinker, who died suddenly last year at the age of 58, lived in Brighton for more than 30 years. He was a regular passenger on the Brighton line and was often seen around the town in his trademark long black coat. Well, that's all the news for now. We'll be back at 1:30 with the lunchtime news. Do join us then.
Good afternoon. It's time to take a wider look around Europe for the forecast, but we'll start in our northwestern corner. And once again, we have both rain, showers and wind. This is the band of rain moving slowly southeastwards. The showers, mostly over Scotland, are clubbing together to make some pretty heavy outbreaks of rain, with the best sunshine, of course, between these two bands, so there's still a bit down the southeast. It'll be a relatively mild day until the rain's gone through, not anything like as mild further north. Now, on a broader scale, we are part of this system here, which has given far more rain and some snow to Scandinavia. But much of the European plain, as you can see, is clear of cloud and relatively warm. There's an exception down here from Romania down towards southern Italy. Now, that's where it's windy and wet. Not particularly pleasant, but that's about the only area. That'll be slow to change, though. At the moment, for example, in Istanbul, it's about 8 degrees, a 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing from the north with the rain, and Crotone down in southern Italy, a 30-mile-an-hour wind and +6, so you can imagine the wind chill. Maybe it's not the weather you'd expect in this part of Europe for this time of the year. Actually, it's not that unusual. It'll take all weekend for the wind to die down. It'll be slightly better on Saturday. For the rest of Europe, it's not that different. If you move up towards Belarus and around the Baltic, there will be variations in cloud and rain, but otherwise it's quiet, not windy and fairly sunny. Moving into Sunday, another fairly active cold front comes through Britain, and that will spread stronger winds and cloud through northern France and Germany, but it won't affect many other places. And briefly, this country for the weekend, a fine start in England, a wet end. That's all for now.
There's more to life than work.
How do you find a man who puts up with your job?
There's more to life.
It's full of diamorphine.
Than death.
Why are you dying, Mark?
I think we should contact the police.
Friday nights.
I thought we were getting away from work.
Make a date with Sam Ryan.
The little black dress wasn't a complete failure then.
Amanda Burton in Silent Witness, tonight at 9:30 on BBC1.
The precise details of Going for a Song is that it's all about estimates in approximately 25 minutes. First on BBC1, the Alphabet Game.
On the Alphabet Game today, Debbie Arnold, Peter Baldwin, Paul Hendy, Julie Peasgood, and Ted Robbins. Sad day for me on the Alphabet Game. Who are you doing?
I was just thinking how dirty this desk was. Excuse me.
Have a little clean it up, OK. Well, it's a sad day because what more could you possibly ask for on a show than Debbie Arnold and Julie Peasgood there every single day? And you won't be here the next show, you won't be here.
Well, I hope you get a cleaner desk.
I will do my best,
Andrew.
Now, you've met our famous gang, but you haven't yet met our real people. Please welcome Jeff. Yeah. Where are you from, Jeff?
Good old sunny Liverpool.
Yeah! You brought some friends?
Yeah. Just a bit, probably ex-cons, aren't you?
Listen, what are your hobbies, mate? What are your hobbies? What do you have to in spare time?
The usual: football, drinking, womanising.
Thieving. Now, who you brought along as your partner? Who you brought over?
My good friend John,
on the show?
Primary school.
John!
Brilliant.